Hey guys, what's going on? This time we are back and we are talking about Star Wars Rebels Season 2. I'm here with Durf.
Yo.
And we are going to be talking about Season 2 as a whole, but mostly that awesome finale that we got. So let's do our first brief thoughts on Season 2 as a whole. Durf, take it away.
All right. So overall, season 2 as a whole, I think was a slight improvement over season 1. For the most part, I really enjoyed season 2. Had its problems. It had a few too many filler episodes and whatnot, but I think for the most part, it stayed focused and most of the episodes did serve the story. I'm really interested to see where we go from here.
Yeah, Season 2 is definitely a big improvement over Season 1 to me. Season 1, really, I was looking for something that's a little more Clone Wars style, and it deviated from that formula a little bit, and I wasn't as invested in the characters. Season 2 is really built up on those, and while still not being a fantastic season overall, that season finale, to me, made it worth watching. But, you are right, Season 2 has a lot of filler episodes. Not a lot, but it's got a good amount of filler episodes, ones that you could chuck by the wayside, and the story would still go forward. As a whole, I like Season 2. It's an improvement on Season 1, but I'm still waiting for it to get up to the Clone Wars level for me. I mean, I loved the Clone Wars seasons, and admittedly, they got better and better each season, so I'm hoping that we see that trend carry on for Rebels as well.
Right. I do remember, the first couple seasons of Clone Wars were kind of rough, too. So, I mean, it's kind of a filling out process, get the tone of your show and everything, and once it gets rolling, that's usually when it gets better.
Yeah, I completely agree. The first 2 seasons of Clone Wars, while it took a while to get its footing, for me, seeing lightsabers and Jedi and stuff like that those kinds of things keep me engaged and intrigued. And Star Wars Rebels, it doesn't have a lot of Jedi in it, so it's got to really rely on the characters that are not Jedi, like Hera and Sabine and Zeb and stuff. And while they're okay characters, I really don't care about them as much. And so, to me, Star Wars, it's all about the light side versus the dark side, the Jedi. And why we don't have a lot of that here. This show seems more geared towards the gray Jedi. The prequels are all about the light side, the Jedi. This seems to be the filler in between the prequels and original trilogy. So we've got kind of the gray Jedi, the gray transition into the overall tone of the dark side taking over the original trilogy. So I'm liking that, but I guess I just want more Jedi. I want more lightsaber action.
Right, and I think I kind of differ a little bit there. I think you're a little bit more of a fan of the prequels than me, so that's probably I think where you're coming from. I'm more of an original trilogy guy, so I do kind of like the style a bit more, I think, than you do. I think we both like the show, maybe a little different in terms of how much we like it, but pretty much I'm mostly in agreement with you.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose any subscribers by saying I'm a huge fan of the prequels. I'm not a huge fan of the prequels, but I don't have as many gripes with the prequels as a lot of people do, and that's definitely a different topic for a different day. So let's just get into our favorite episode of the season, which I think it's really no secret we both have the same favorite episode. So why don't you just take it away? Let's get right in that season finale review.
Yeah, and talk about going from a not very good episode to an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Just to the snap of the fingers. Jesus, that episode is cracking from the beginning. They go into that Sith temple on Malachor and fighting a new Inquisitor, even finding cross-guard lightsabers.
Yeah, that was cool.
At this big Sith versus Jedi battle was really cool. It's kind of a nod to Kylo Ren and The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reintroduction of Darth Maul. That was fucking cool.
Yes, to me, that's exactly what made this episode so great, was the re-emergence of Darth Maul being the quote-unquote old master. Any Star Wars fan worth their salt already knew who that was before he reveals himself and takes the hood off and everything. He made that episode great, and we were talking a little bit earlier about why he made it so great, and it's because we know Darth Maul to be a Sith. We know him to be a villain, a bad guy. Now he's kind of renounced his affiliation with the Sith, but we know he's still a bad guy. Like, his intent is still out for number one. And at every twist and turn, you're sitting there expecting this guy to betray Ezra and Kanan and Ahsoka, and he doesn't, and it doesn't happen. And you're sitting there scratching your head like, has this guy really changed his ways? Like, I know his zebra doesn't change his stripes, but why has he not betrayed them just yet? And I loved it. I loved that there's this kind of doom looming over the entire episode, but Darth Maul is really, he's a mystery, and I loved it.
Yeah, and it kind of plays into, him being very smart about it, because if he would have tried to spring his plan earlier, they would have got him. They would have stopped him. But waiting until it was basically point of no return was very smart, and then he kind of tricked everybody. I mean, Kanan and Ahsoka didn't really trust him at all, but they were willing to just work with him because, they're desperate to find a way to stop the Inquisitors and Darth Vader and all that stuff. So,
and let's talk about that scene real quick where we see Kanan, Ahsoka, and Darth Maul up against all 3 Inquisitors. That shot was just, that gave me the chills, man. I loved that shot. To me, it solidified. I was like, holy shit, Darth Maul is a good guy. No fucking
Oh yeah, and
way.
they're all fighting at once, and it's like, holy shit, dude! On a lightsaber action there.
Yeah, and Maul, for some reason, is limping around with his mechanical legs. That didn't make much sense, but I didn't care. But then he just bust out. I mean, Maul fought all three Inquisitors on his own at first. That was amazing. I was so stoked about that.
Yeah, I mean that was really fucking cool, dude. He showed how fucking badass Darth Maul is. I mean, that's one of the best parts of the prequels is that fight scene he has with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. So I mean, it was good to see him fighting and being a badass again.
Yeah, and I love that Darth Maul's reemergence in the Clone Wars and this is just a big apology to the fans. Like, we know Lucas fucked up. He's a great character. We're gonna bring him back for you, and he's so good. He's not only been in one animated series now, he's in another animated series. He was honestly just the best part of this whole episode to me. And that's saying something because this episode as a whole was actually great. We have Ahsoka, we've got Darth Vader, we've got 3 Inquisitors. It's an all-out lightsaber battle, and it's fucking awesome.
And oh yeah, and then fucking the fact they're not afraid to show Darth Maul being fucking ruthless and just taking dudes out.
He held up, I think it was the chick Inquisitor, and he's telling Ezra to cut her down. And Ezra, I mean, kind of Anakin Revenge of the Sith style, sitting there kind of struggling with the idea, do I do this, do I not? And this episode really showcased Ezra really being pulled towards the dark side, and we can see that he's definitely got some darkness to him, but he doesn't kill her, and then Darth Maul just throws his lightsaber and presumably cuts this chick in half.
Oh yeah, it's definitely implied she's cut in half. Then he just straight up stabs fifth brother, I think it's like right through the chest.
Yeah, I mean, Maul just did away with these guys.
So yeah, and then after dispatching the first 2 Inquisitors, they finish fighting eighth brother who tries to escape, and I don't remember who disabled it or who damaged the lightsaber, but it stops mid-spin and he falls to assumably his death.
I think it was confirmed by Dave Filoni that he is in fact dead. And actually, before we go any further, I do want to say I am really not on board with like the whole helicopter Inquisitor lightsabers.
It looks dumb.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's like, okay, guys, that's cool that they can do that, but it looks stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm fine with it, but at the same time, I'm like, I would not have made that choice. But I guess it just makes transportation easier for these guys. They're not exactly force wielders; they're more just lightsaber wielders. So whatever. Anyways, let's get to the crux of the entire episode, which is Darth Maul finally shows his true colors and turns on the group of Ahsoka, Kanan, and Ezra.
You kind of expect it coming. You kind of see it's coming there. And he's talking about my apprentice and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, so they're gonna have this big fight. What's gonna happen? And he did something unexpected. He actually blinded Kanan. I did not see that coming.
I know, dude. A total like fucking Mortal Kombat Kenshi look to this guy now, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, that came out of nowhere, dude.
He reminded me a lot of in the Star Wars Force Unleashed. There's a Jedi who's blind, and I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
We'll find the picture and we'll throw it up. I'll put it right next to a picture of Kenshi because I'm like, that's the first thing that came to mind. And the second thing that came to mind was the blind Jedi from the Force Unleashed. That it kind of makes you wonder: is Kanan that guy? Does he turn into him? I don't know. But so Darth Maul turns on them, blinds Kanan, and then they get a nice little battle while Ezra is making his way to the top of the temple to get the Sith holocron. Because in this episode, it's all about know your enemy. If you can get the Sith holocron, you can know your enemy to defeat your enemy.
And it comes to find out the temple is actually some sort of giant weapon.
It's like a ship or something too, right? Is that right?
He just says that basically he's going to use this temple to kill all his enemies, and it's not clear exactly what it does, but it's a weapon of some sort.
Yeah, this whole episode really leaves on a big cliffhanger. I actually did like that Ezra, the holocron kind of asked Ezra, are you the person that wields this force? Are you the person meant to open the holocron? And he's like, no, that's not me. Wait for my old master to come up here. He's obviously being pulled towards the dark side, but he's very much becoming a clone of Anakin. And I kind of like it, and I'm kind of like, well, Ezra was also really fucking stupid in this episode too. He propelling the story by making dumb decisions. So yeah, after Maul blinds Kanan actually takes one of the temple guards.
Jedi temple guards.
Yeah, he takes that temple guard mask and puts it on, and I'm sitting there like, is this has to have some kind of symbolic reference that I'm not really getting yet. I mean, I know that the temple guards are the epitome of kind of gray Jedi now, but he puts it on, he gets some Kenshi Daredevil thing going on where he's using his senses and surroundings in the Force to kind of sense where Darth Maul is, and he quickly disables Darth Maul and throws him off the side of the temple. Now we know Maul is going to survive. He's not dead.
Oh no, they show him taking off one of the Inquisitor's TIE fighters. He's clearly alive.
Yeah, he's definitely alive. But then, Durf, what happens?
As Ezra's up on the temple and it's getting ready to do whatever it's gonna do and shit's going south, guess who shows up? It's fucking
Dun,
Darth
dun,
Vader.
dun, 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 dun.
And he tells, Ezra, you can join me or you can die. Ezra, of course, refuses to join him. He quickly kicks Ezra's ass, and it looks like Ezra's screwed. And then Ahsoka shows up.
Well,
and
he also actually destroys Ezra's lightsaber.
destroys his lightsaber. And Ahsoka shows up, basically tells him, I don't recognize you as my master anymore, and I'm going to kill you, basically.
And this is actually the first time that we get the acknowledgement from Ahsoka that she knows that Anakin is Darth Vader.
I mean, earlier in the season, they make it pretty clear that she basically knows. She's just not coming to grips with it. And
yeah, I mean, they hint at it, but this is the first time it's like in your face. Yeah, okay, Ahsoka knows.
Yeah, and so she challenged him, and they have this big epic lightsaber battle,
which is the fight we've all been waiting for since Clone Wars ended. Man, this was a great fight.
And they battle over the top of this temple, and she ends up taking part of his mask off and sees he's in there, and she tries to convince him that he's still Anakin, he's still good, and he should just give this up and come back over. It kind of almost looks like he considers it for a minute, but then he tells her basically, no, I'm Darth Vader now.
Anakin's dead, yeah.
Anakin's dead, and then they continue their fight, and she holds him off while the others escape. And the temple collapses, and that's kind of the end of the major action of the episode.
Definitely a feels moment for sure, man. I mean, when I saw Ahsoka, and even the way they shot this was great. I mean, you really felt the gravity of this confrontation because it's Padawan versus Master, just like we have with Anakin and Obi-Wan. It's really fun, and it's something that we've been waiting to see for a long time from Clone Wars. And I like that Ahsoka even says, "I'm no Jedi." Great line for her, but just to see her going up against Darth Vader, there was just so much writing on this for everyone, and everyone knows because Ahsoka's not in the original trilogy, she's gonna die. So we're sitting there thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna see the death of Ahsoka. No, I'm not really ready for this, but it's gonna be crazy. And the last we see of Ahsoka, it's like you said, the temple's falling down and she's going at head to head with Anakin, and that's it. Like everything's kind of left to our own imagination on what could happen until we get the end. It starts to wrap itself up, and we see Ahsoka very, very briefly, and hard to see unless you've got a keen eye, walking down the temple like she's been defeated. She's not dead, but she's almost been defeated. And does she go into exile like Yoda does? What is she doing? She's not really a Jedi. She's a gray Jedi. So, what is her path now?
I think that's kind of something they're obviously going to touch on more in season 3. And obviously, too, we see Vader limp away because he's kind of injured in the fight. So
I like that when Ahsoka slashed that part of Vader's helmet, we actually heard the breathing apparatus the way we've heard in the movies kind of going. It almost sounds like that technological gasping sound.
Yeah,
I really dug that little attention to detail.
It sounded a lot like, and it's a great detail, like you said, great detail, like at the end of Return of the Jedi where he's on his back with his hand chopped off and he's breathing real heavy.
And part of me was sitting there like, I hope Anakin's still got a soft spot for Ahsoka, but obviously he's just not there yet. He's only been Vader for so long, but this is also, I think we talked about this, only about 5 years out from the timeline of A New Hope.
Oh yeah, and I think it's definitely too soon, and I think I'm kind of the mind that I kind of wanted to not do that because it kind of, for me, if he does that, it really kind of makes his relationship with Luke later on seem not as unique, and it kind of diminishes that. So I do want to kind of see him, not have that affection.
Yeah, the team has to really walk a tightrope here because, like you said, they don't want to really diminish the impact of the Luke and Vader dynamic in the original trilogy, but you also don't want to see Vader go full on killing Ahsoka. So they definitely had to walk the tightrope, and that's why I think we see Ahsoka walking down that temple path at the very end. I mean, it's really brief. When I first saw it, I was like, was that Ahsoka? I don't know. Rewinding it, I can't really tell, but I think it's since been confirmed by Dave Filoni that Ahsoka is indeed alive, but he says that we're not going to actually visit her character for quite some time. So maybe the finale of season 3 or towards the end of season 3, because I don't know how long this thing's supposed to be on, if it even has a season 4, but I'm definitely looking forward to Ahsoka coming back. She was actually one of my favorite parts of season 1 when she finally made her reappearance there.
We'll be interested to see where they go from there. And also, obviously, at the end, we see Kanan with the, what would you call that?
I don't know.
Mask?
It kind of looked like, what's that one dude from Star Trek who kind of looked like Cyclops? He had one of those things on.
Oh, Geordi.
Yes, it looks something kind of like that, but I don't know. Not Kenshi. Say fucking Kenshi. Kanan is definitely a mystery character. Here are our predictions for season 3. And I guess what we should do is end it with season 2 finale made the entire season 2 worth it. It made the filler episodes worth it. It was a phenomenal episode.
Yeah, the season 2 was bookended by easily the two best episodes of the series. The season premiere was amazing, and the finale was even better.
Even if season 2 had its filler episodes, this finale made the entire thing work. It all culminated into a bombastic, great episode, and I really hope that season 3 takes a note from that, and they hit the ground running with season 3, because the finale was just 0 to 100 in no time at all. I'm really hoping we see them start to do that with season 3, because there's a lot they can cover, and I think one of the things me and you had talked about was Star Wars Rogue One. Can they sort of somehow tie this series into that movie? Because that movie's obviously not about the Jedi, and the series itself isn't really about the Jedi, so hopefully they can kind of steer this ship into the direction of Rogue One.
Which, I mean, they kind of already are with the start of the rebellion and everything, so
what are some of your predictions for season 3, Durf?
I think in season 3, Ezra might actually go pretty far to the dark side, actually.
Yeah.
And I could actually see him being killed in season 3.
Wow, you think Ezra might be killed? Damn, personally, I think Kanan's going to be killed. I think Kanan, if anybody gets killed off, I mean, aside from the supporting characters, because I think we can all agree Kanan and Ezra are two main characters at this point.
Right.
I think Kanan is the one more subject to a death than Ezra, because I think that death of Kanan is really going to impact Ezra's future. Whether he decides to really hate however he dies and turn to the dark side because of it, or does he rise above it and avenge him in the way that would honor Kanan's memory?
Yeah.
So,
It's going to be interesting to see if they break out the big brass ones and they maybe have Ezra, when he goes more towards the dark side, maybe he does kill Kanan.
oh shit, dude! Ezra kills Kanan. Wow.
Maybe that could be a route they go.
You know what? That'd be crazy. And you know what I want to do? Kind of. I've been toying with the idea for a few months now. Is I want to pick up the Origin of Kanan comic book that's actually out, and I think Greg Wiseman, the creator of Young Justice, is actually writing it. So I think I might pick that up. Maybe there's some clues there. I think that Ezra killing Kanan could be crazy, and I actually do like that idea.
If they really wanted to be ballsy, they could go all out with that, make Ezra go full dark side.
It would
It's
be
just
cool.
interesting because they kind of have him going kind of down the dark side path now, especially with the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see a real pull to it, and at the very end, I think what is the last shot of this actual episode is him holding the Sith holocron, and he's got a pretty devilish look on his face.
Well, he's also got the Sith eyes too.
I thought maybe that was just the reflection from the holocron. Is it the Sith eyes?
I'm pretty sure it's the Sith eyes, yeah.
Ooh. So, I think we'll definitely see the death of a supporting character. My bet is probably going to be on Sabine, just because she just really doesn't play much of a role, even in the dynamic of the team as a whole. She's this kind of artist outcast. She doesn't serve a big purpose. I can see her being killed off.
You know, too, that could play into Ezra going further to the dark side because he's got a thing for Sabine.
Yeah, there's a definite romance budding there, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And I mean, it's really been budding since season 1, and we haven't seen it go anywhere. So, I mean, I'd be fine with him killing her off, and it would even be a further reinforcement of Ezra kind of being the next Anakin if, he goes nuts over someone that he's romantically involved with dies off. I think it's possible we can see one of these characters having some kind of role in some facet in Rogue One. I mean, there could be a mention of Kanan or Ezra, or it could just be a name drop, but I'm thinking that, because this show is not really dependent on the Jedi angle, and neither is Rogue One, it only makes sense for this show to actually be setting up the events of Rogue One, which is, from my understanding, that a bunch of rebels stealing the plans for the Death Star.
That's a possibility.
I mean, I'd like to see that for sure. I mean, and there doesn't seem to be any Inquisitors left. Who are we really going to see these guys going up against unless it's just Vader himself?
Yeah, which, I mean, you can't have, because if Vader's going up against them, it's going to get a little ridiculous that they aren't dead.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be...
Because they clearly cannot take him.
No. So it's like, who's going to be the main antagonist now? It'll be Vader and the Imperials in general, but, you have to have some other side villain characters. And
I'll add that I think, depending on, I don't know how long they plan on running the show, but if season 3 were to somehow be the last season, I think the prediction would have to be that all the Jedi die at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think this season, or this show in general, is kind of supposed to be the death of the Jedi for good, because we got Kanan, who's really the last remaining remnant of that. Ahsoka's no longer a that Jedi by her own admission, and we see Ezra being pulled towards the dark side. So if anything, it's just the season of the Greys, but I think it is ultimately the death of the Jedi until Luke. So I think you're right. All right, guys. Well, that's what me and Durf have to say on season 2 as a whole and the finale of Star Wars Rebels. We really appreciate you guys listening this far. I really want to thank Durf for coming on.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy coming on the podcast, so I hope to do something else again soon.
Oh yeah, Durf will definitely be back. But thanks for listening, guys. As always, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Tell us what are your predictions for season 3? What were your favorite episodes? What was your least favorite episode of season 2? And what did you think of the finale, the fantastic finale that we got? And be on the lookout tomorrow when we do our another segment of Weekly Poll. Anyways, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for listening, and come back next time. Take care.
Later.